Never any of that either.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right, so big smile. Hi, this is John Panico, and we're sitting here with Evelyne Clarke. Evelyne is the owner of WERA motorcycle. And can you tell us a little bit more about the let me try that from the start again.
Okay.
We'll just keep going. All right. Hi, this is John Panico. I'm sitting here with Evelyne Clarke. Evelyne's the owner of WERA Motorcycle, Inc.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing some time with us today.
No problem. Glad to do it.
So, Evelyne, can you tell us a little bit about what WERA is and what it does?
Well, WERA is an organization that has an amateur and a pro-am level for motorcycle road racing. We've been around since 1973, and we put on all kinds of racing, from vintage racing to open leader bike type racing, super bike, super stock, endurance racing, and the whole gambit. So we've literally been there since '73, and it's evolved, and now the equipment is so much different than it was when we started. I mean, you used to be able to run, we did 24-hour endurances, and you used to be able to run that on a few sets of tires, and now you need like 10 sets of tires to do a 24-hour. So things have definitely evolved. The sport has seen growth, the sport has seen decline, and then it's seen growth again, and it takes a special type of person to race a motorcycle.
Okay, great. So it takes a special type of person to run an organization like this. What got you into WERA? I mean, how did you get involved?
It's been more than half my life, and I was dating a fella who started racing, and I would go with him, and I'd be in the pits, and something would go wrong, and somebody would get blamed. So I finally just went to the organizers and said, "Can I help you?" And they put me to work, and within 3 years they were flying me around the country, and that was back in '76. And then in '84 I bought into it with 2 other partners, and I've since bought both partners out.
Awesome. So would you say that these type of events are, that once you go to them, it sounds like you just got hooked?
I did. I mean, like I said, it takes a special type of person, and the racers, it's really become my family, because I've watched them from when they were little, because we start them racing at age 10, believe it or not. They can run minis, which are the 80 and 50cc bikes, and there's only certain tracks that are under 2 miles that they can race those on. And so I've watched them grow, like Nikki, Tommy, and Roger Lee Hayden, all of the Hayden boys. Earl brought them all to me when they were old enough. Some of them weren't old enough, but they were still brought to me. And so we watched them grow up in the sport, and they've gone on to become World Superbike, and Nikki now MotoGP, and
Awesome.
a champion. And then we've had people who started it in their 20s, like Scott Russell, who went on to become a World Superbike. He's from here in the Atlanta area. And Ben Spies, who is now vying for MotoGP title. He's, done good in World Superbike, and he was 11 when he started racing with us.
Okay, so how many classes,
Well, I
or
think
types
it
of racers do
breaks
you have?
down to, if you separate the expert and novice classes, we run like 21 classes on a weekend.
Holy
So basically,
smokes.
if you've got a motorcycle, we have a place for you to road race it.
So that kind of brings it up. I mean, couple questions. One is, hey, if I just have a motorcycle, just like you said, what is it going to take skill-wise for me to compete here?
You have to take a rider school. We offer them on Saturdays at our regionals, or there's a bunch of schools across the country that we do recognize. So you do that first, and then you can come and you have to do 2 weekends as a provisional novice. And then you get your novice card after you complete 2 weekends. And then you go on, of course, to become expert, and then Pro-Am with our Pro-Am series. But it's really, you have to have a passion for the sport. You want to have a competitive nature. No fear of speed, obviously, and just go for it. That's the attitude these guys have. They go for it, and it's almost like the passion is so great that they'll give anything they can to be able to continue to do it.
So that was the question I was about to ask. Is it more about competing, or is it more about winning?
I think it's more about competing, because races are fickle things. Only one person gets top spot on the podium, but that never stops the 25 to 30 or sometimes even 40 behind them from racing. So it's got to be more than just winning. It's got to be the accomplishment of seeing a checker flag, the accomplishment of beating your buddy, the accomplishment of besting your last lap time.
You're always competing against something.
Right. I think those are the motivators with it.
Okay, and so it sounds like it's a little bit of a family. You know, yeah, we're competitive, but I'll help you.
Exactly. And our pits are just like that. I mean, you can be competing with someone for points. You can break a part on your bike and you can go to that competitor, and if he's got that spare part, he gives it to you to fix your bike. And that's what it really should be all about. I mean, I think if you lose sight of that, especially at the levels we're doing it at, you're never going to make it in the pro levels, because once you get there, there's a much more closed door policy. So I think it's just, I mean, like I said, the passion has to be there.
So about how many riders do you have on average on any sort of event?
Well, the events like here, we would average between 200 and 225
Wow.
riders that would race.
Gets a little crowded out there.
Well, they don't all race at the same time. I mean, you figure everybody in their own class.
Exactly.
And we have grid limits.
Okay.
So
And then, so how many events does WERA put on a year then?
anywhere between 32 and 40.
And where are we at so far in your schedule?
We're about halfway through. A little better than halfway at this point. I
Okay.
would say 2/3.
And what's been the highlight of the year so far?
Actually, because the weather's been so bad, this weekend's looking pretty darn good.
All
And
right.
I mean, Road Atlanta has been my home track. It's my favorite track. I've done business with Road Atlanta for so many years. Well, since 1976. So, and we've
Let's
always
not date ourselves here.
well, and we've always brought our Grand National Finals here. We'll be here again in October, at the end of October, the last weekend in October. And to me, this is home. And the riders love this track. I mean, it's very technical. It's got elevation changes. And there are some parts of the country that you just don't have that. So if I had to pick an event that I like the best, it's definitely this and the GNF.
All right, so you told us why you like the Road Atlanta track. You know, pro racers coming this weekend? Is that what brings them? I mean, for the same sort of reasons that you just outlined. Do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah, because
Okay.
my throat's starting to scream.